Yes, it's another Saturday. It's August the 7th. And this is John Noble here from the Badminton Talk podcast. Good morning to you all. Mark, good morning. How are you?
Very good, John. Great to be here. What about Kelly Harrington?
Oh, Kelly Harrington, my goodness, Mark. We're going to all set our alarm clocks up early. I think she's fighting at 6 a.m. tomorrow morning for the gold medal. She's already got a silver, Mark.
Oh, John, what a performance today to get into the final, and really looking forward to it. What an inspiration for all young athletes, all the athletes for the future. Maybe, what do you think, Nat going for a gold medal at the next Olympics, John?
For sure, absolutely. I think all these Team Ireland achievements are going to spur on the younger players and know that all this is possible. What I loved about Kelly Harrington's interview and what was been talked about, it wasn't about all what had happened in this Olympic cycle. It was her 15 years of hard work that she done. And just think about Nat and the younger players, all the time they've put in. Someday it can come to that one moment where you get finally into your Olympics and get the opportunity to maybe one day go for a medal. And I think, why not with Nat? You know, he's now moving down or up the ranks, down the numbers, up the ranks. I think that's it. And I think, if he can believe in himself and have good people around him is what's key, Mark.
John, couldn't agree with you more. That's something I've really noticed in the Olympics. The amount of work those athletes, 10, 15, 20 years, it's a very common story of how long they've worked at their craft or worked at their sport to try and one day just have one shot at getting a gold medal at the Olympics. It's just quite inspiring.
Yeah, I think, Mark, we've all been glued to the Olympics and we get all these different stats. I remember one stat that was thrown out early in the Olympics is that 73% of all the Olympians who partake in any Olympics will only ever get one opportunity.
I did not know that, John. Wow.
One opportunity. Sometimes you think, they'll get 3 and 4 and 5. Well, Steve Redgrave, the rower, got 5, but I mean, that's exceptional. 73% only get one shot at the cherry. There we go, Mark. You know,
take your opportunity when you can, John.
Yes, so we certainly will. Let's remind our listeners here on the Badminton Talk podcast, which we know is sponsored by the Q Shuttle. The Q Shuttle, by the way, is now available. We were talking to two wonderful. That disappeared very quick. Two wonderful. What would we call them? Hard-working, promoting badminton coaches, players. Jill Redmond, not Nagashal, I think, if I'm pronouncing that right, Mark. It sounds about right, doesn't it? Not Nagashal, getting that right, for getting badminton going down in Kerry from the kingdom, as sometimes I think Michael O'Meara likes to call that neck of the woods, moved from Manchester in the UK in 2017 and got involved in badminton for social reasons. And she, of course, is a UK level 2 coach. And Jill, along with Michelle Corr, again from the kingdom, from Ballyhaig. I think it's Ballyhaig. Yeah, I got that one right, Mark. Yeah, level 1 badminton Ireland coach like myself, and the level 2 is you. So I still have to keep my coaching going to catch up with you, Mark Topping. She's coached Kerry and Munster juvenile teams, and she's also been running technical camps as well for a while. Pretty much focuses on kids 6 to 12, doing a lot for women in sport in Galway. So two great contributors to the Badminton Talk podcast. I was going to say modcast podcast. Did you enjoy it so far, Mark?
Yeah, just inspiring volunteers and just real love. You get that love of badminton from Michelle and Jill down in Kerry. It's just great to see. You can feel that passion when you listen to them talk. So let's see what they say. Yeah,
I mean, it just reminds you, Mark, you just need people like Jill and Michelle all over to promote and keep badminton going. What would we do without... I mean, if you listed them, I mean, unfortunately, there's not too many of them because it takes time and work and commitment. A little like yourself, Mark. You're always promoting badminton, if I can say. I know you won't say this. Your camps, which I know can't happen at the moment because of COVID, but normally your camps that you would have, your coaching that you do, like others, always promoting the game. We need people promoting our sport. And Jill and Michelle, they're just fantastic what they're doing with tight resources down in Kerry. They're just looking to try to bring their badminton to the next level, to some type of aspiring academy. So yeah, Mark, I'm very excited to hear what they are going to say. And this is part 2. I think we could be in for a part 3 as well, though, Mark.
I think we had a good night recording. We had good crack with Michelle and Jill on the night we recorded. Let's do it, John.
Okay, so what we'll do now is we will go back to part 2 of the interview, which we recorded, maybe it was 2 months ago, Mark, I can't remember, 2.5 months ago, and I think, Mark, you are going to say a few words just here.
Actually, you said something there that I haven't heard in a long time, and maybe I'm putting you on the spot here a little bit. You said something, hidden coaching, where people don't realise they're getting coached. How do you go about that? What? Maybe you could give me an example of how you do that.
So it's kind of like you watch what somebody does and you would go, that was really good, but next time if you just kind of hit it to the right corner, that might work better. Or that shot what you just did then, that was really good, we won the point, but if you've done X, Y and Z, and if you think about how you're going to do it next time, then that would be good. Or on the serve, if you lift your serve further back, you'll win the point every time because your man who you're playing against can't go that far back and you're not going to be able to clear it. So it's kind of little things like that, little niggly things where you can go up to somebody when they're playing a game and then they'll win the next 4 points, and then they'll start coming to you to ask you more questions and how can I beat this person and how can I beat that person. So that's kind of what I mean by hidden coaching. So you're not doing a structured session, you're just helping them with the gameplay.
That's brilliant. I like that. I think that's a very good way, because people continue. I suppose everybody's got different learning styles, and that would help people who just love to play, and you just come in with one little tip every 10 minutes, so they're still playing, and then they can practice that tip. That's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
It's kind of like self-learning. In a way, trying something out, experimenting.
Yeah, experimenting with out one tip that the coach gives.
Yeah, I mean, the young generation today, very tech savvy. They love trying things out. They sometimes won't read all the instructions. They'll just work it out. That's how they learn. And I think taking that onto a court, they like to try things out sometimes without going, well, I have to do the 4-hour program. Let's just try to encourage, as Jill has just said, trying something different. Brilliant. That's great.
Jill, I'll just follow up. Why do you coach badminton?
I think I must be mad. I really enjoy it, actually. Sometimes I kind of go. Sometimes I go, this is just too much for me, and then when I'm not doing it, I really, really miss it. And I really enjoy it when when you're coaching somebody and all of a sudden they do something and they go, did you see that? I just did that, and it kind of makes it all worth it. When you show somebody how to do something and they do it and they win a point and they're just over the moon and they come running over to you and say, did you see me? Did you see me? And it's just kind of little things like that where you can help improve people's lives. Like the club I set up in back in the UK, there was a few people that would turn up that couldn't afford to pay, that didn't have any money to pay, and they didn't have any shoes to be able to play in. Do you know what I mean? They didn't have any money, but I would let them into the club and I would let them play because they enjoy playing. It's little things like that what make it kind of worthwhile doing, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And we have probably the same question, Michelle. You're on a time basis here, because I'm looking here to our listeners on the Badminton Talk podcast. We're told we've 3 minutes and 36 seconds before this will shut down. So we'll give you 2.5 minutes, Michelle. Same question to you.
Why do you coach
badminton? Yeah, it's a really interesting question.
Again, I love working with kids. I love
just the joy of seeing them having fun. I find with coaching, it is about the fundamental side of it for me.
Yeah.
It's like I said, it's with my kids when I go down. It's just seeing that just they love playing it. They just and they love having fun, and you can make a difference to a child's life by giving them confidence. Even one of the little kids last year, like he played on the Kerry team, and I just given him instructions. He just followed them.
Yeah.
I knew what suited him game wise. He might needed to just calm down a bit, so I put him playing singles. He played brilliantly. He loved it. And even just in at Christmas time, he sent me a little ornament for Christmas saying "Best coach ever."
Wow, my goodness, that would make you want to get up in the morning and continue doing what you're doing all the time. That's wonderful.
Yeah, and even when you hear your own kids,
Yeah.
and I mean, I don't know how often you would find this, but a lot of time kids don't like their parents telling them what to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
But for my two, even to hear my own daughter say to me, "Mom, you're the best coach ever, and I love going watching you, and I love you coaching me."
Yeah.
Not as much with my little fella, but my lady, yes, my little fella just doesn't like being told what to do.
Yeah, well, that's part of...
But I really enjoy the kids, and I found when we were saying goodbye to the kids after last year, at the end of the season, and with all the COVID, and we were to go forward because we'd won with the under-11s and for Munster, and we were to go in to play the All-Ireland. I was broken hearted for the kids, and we couldn't get to finish the game.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, no.
It was... They put a lot of time and effort into it, and they love the sport.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Mark, just before I tee up the next part of this interview here on the Badminton Talk podcast, sponsored by, of course, the Q Shuttle. Mark, kids not like to be talked at. Jamie, can you tell Jamie what to do these days? Can I personalise to our listeners? A little older than my Dylan of 15 and Sophia. They're kind of...
Yeah, Jamie's
mind of his own now.
Jamie's a man now, so he makes his own choices and decisions. And we've brought him up to be an independent thinker. So let's. I'm sure he's going to do very well in life.
Oh, absolutely! Yeah, Jamie is, and he's playing badminton. Back playing badminton, Mark, is he? Or I know he's working on his career, but is he back playing badminton?
Yeah. The university badminton got him back to badminton, which was
right.
Great.
The varsities,
The varsities. He had great crack with the UCD badminton club in the first couple of years at university, and then COVID hit. So obviously, everybody hasn't played for a year and a half. But I think he seems certainly. If I go back 18 months ago, he seemed to enjoy badminton again. So we may see Jamie on the court a little bit more if he has the time. He's obviously a very busy man. Yeah,
no, absolutely. And a big shout out, Mark, to all the badminton players in universities too. Do keep in touch with us on our Badminton Talk podcast. And if you're looking to know what's ahead in the badminton calendar year, we can give you some advice. A lot of players keen to know when tournaments are going to start. Well, fingers crossed, Mark, they'll all start at the beginning of September. That's what's in the Badminton Ireland calendar. It's September. I think it's the Connacht it's either the under-15s or under-17s. I don't have my notes. I think it's the under-15s. Fingers crossed they get to that situation, and then the Nationals is coming up not too long after that, another 6 or 8 weeks, something along those lines. Okay, enough of the yap, Mark. Yeah. On to Jill and Michelle, and we'll continue on. Here we go. Okay, we are here, Jill Redmond and Michelle Corr from the Kingdom. I think that's what they call the county, the Kingdom. And off the record, we do believe they do want to win the Sam Maguire Cup or take some kind of cup. I think we could give them a cup or something, Mark. What do you think? But I'm not sure about Sam.
I don't think the Dogs are going to get it up very easy.
But okay, well, we won't talk that. We're talking badminton today, to brilliant work that Jill and Michelle are doing for badminton down in Kerry. So, of course, we want to thank our sponsor, the Q Shuttle. Mark, you are going to start next and ask Jill a question.
Yes, John.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good.
No, this is one of the reasons that I was talking, as I said earlier on, to Michael O'Mara, a great friend of mine, and he mentioned that you are planning to set up or hoping to set up a badminton academy in Tralee, both of you together, Jill and Michelle. So my question is by the way, I love this idea because I think it's a great way of, I suppose, introducing particularly kids to the sport, and I really just wanted to see your perspective on it. Jill, why are you doing this? What are the goals of the academy, and maybe who is it for? Who are you aiming it at, Jill?
I guess what we're trying to do is, so everybody likes playing badminton. You know, there's a difference between playing badminton and playing badminton. To watch somebody who knows how to play badminton, it is different than watching somebody on the court. And so we've set up the Tralee Badminton Club, and that's going really well. But the idea really is to push everybody then into an academy. So once you get hooked on playing badminton, and once you're kind of pushing towards playing at county level, or you're looking to go to the Munsters or maybe national level, then in my mind, and probably the same with Michelle, is you kind of need to have more of a focused approach to coaching, where you concentrate a lot more upon the technique, where you push the technique, where everything would be more of a technique. So you kind of raise the standards for all of the players. We've been looking to build on what is already the foundations which have already been set. There are some quite good talented players in Kerry, but everybody seems to be coached in a different way. And I have always thought, I think because of coming through badminton how I did and finishing off with my son in the performance centre, I can see how that structured approach, the kids just accelerate. So you have smaller classes. You would have the focus would be just on most of the technique, just to improve that and get the standard much higher. That's what we've been looking to do, and that's what the idea behind the academy really.
Brilliant. So just to get it right in my head, you've already got a good social club going in Tralee, lots of beginners just starting, and so the academy is really, the way I'm seeing this or reading it, and maybe you can confirm, is that I suppose it's for the next level. Or suddenly you can see some kids getting very enthusiastic about badminton, and maybe they want to play a few more times a week, and they want to develop their skills. Is that where you're aiming that at?
Yeah, that would be the idea, because I've seen the structure of the performance centres in the UK where you would have a raw session. So you'd have like a raw and developing in one session, and then you'd have those who were like emerging and looking to kind of go towards more maybe national level. So to take players and to improve them and get the technique up to a really good level, so they can start pushing.
Yeah.
If they want to play at national level, we can take them as far as we can physically take them, and then if it gets to the point where we can't coach them any longer in our academy, then we would push them on to a next level up coach. We would do as much with them as possible, and just all round Kerry, just to try and improve that standard of badminton. So you're coaching in one way, you're coaching to serve in a certain way, you're coaching to your clears, to make sure that everybody can hit. I'm going on a tangent now. I can't even think where I was going with it. I'm just going round in a circle.
Yeah, I know.
Jill, it would also be open to Munster. Yes, it wouldn't just be Kerry. Yeah.
It wouldn't be just Kerry.
Yeah, the academy. Yeah, you'd kind of broaden it.
It's the academy. Yeah, it would be open for Munster. So because I did have people inquire outside of Kerry wanting to come to the academy if we opened it in Tralee, because even Limerick would only be like an hour and a half from Tralee, so it's not that far.
Mm. Yeah, well, the thing I picked up actually from Jill, which I'm a big believer in, is I think technique is the way to go. Particularly if you can grab, particularly at the age between, say, 8 and 12, if you can get some good fundamental techniques taught in those 3 or 4 years, I think you've got the basis then for you can produce some very good badminton players.
You're right, and that's how I think, because I think sometimes if you just let the games just go ahead without doing any coaching at all, then people pick up bad habits, and they think just because they've won a couple of tournaments that they're good enough to keep going, but quite often they'll just plateau out. So you kind of need to push players. If they want to be pushed, up to that next level. And I think a structured, from my personal point of view, I think a proper structured coaching plan is ideal. It's not always done by all coaches, but I think a proper structured coaching plan is a really, really good way to improve technique for players, and put the emphasis, build on the foundations which are already there, and make sure you're not going to get overuse injuries from bad technique.
Yeah, and I think Mark, you know this because Mark has coached my son and daughter Sophie and Dylan, and we've often had this discussion that you often see when they're very young, you see the players that are physically they grow a bit bigger than some of the other boys or girls, and they're just stronger, and they kind of win more because of their physicality. Now I'm talking still at a young age, but the player you coach technical and say, don't worry about you'll be stronger soon, but let's get this, let's get your racket skills, let's get the deception in, let's build this in, and then when that power comes into that player, they simply accelerate way and above that other player, and it's no longer. And I think that's that's priceless. It's probably not. Young kids aren't probably going to understand the value of spending time doing more on technique, or at least allocating a certain amount of every training session to technique. It needs to be, as Mark has always said, fun as well. But throwing in a bit of technique and seeing that come along. And as you were saying there yourself and Michelle, having that kind of pathway then, I think it's just a great word to show there's a hierarchy structure. And when young players see there's maybe an academy or the next level, they'll train very hard to try to get to that level. There's something to train for. They see, well, now we're going to where Cork and Kerry meet together and have this academy. We want to be in that academy. And in some way in Badminton Ireland, Dan runs the high performance talent pool, which is you have to have certain metric achieved to get into the very top level. Otherwise, you go into the academy, and that's if you're good enough to go into the academy. And if you're not good enough to go into the academy, you go into the kind of filtering academies. There, say in Whitehall Road, there's a filtering academy. The players have to achieve a certain standard to get into the academy. So it's structure all the way. But they need to see that structure. They need to see that progress. And I see players in Whitehall Road that want to get into that academy, and so they'll go and find a coach that will train on the technique.
Yeah, absolutely, John.
Yeah.
Michelle, you're involved? Are you when are you hoping to start this academy? And actually, another question just hit my head.
It's woken up, hasn't it?
Yeah, my brain is woken up. Are there currently any academies in the Munster area, or is this a new initiative from maybe the Kerry?
No,
region?
so there's no camp. There is no academy within Munster, and for kids, the nearest would have been Mina. They would have had a nice travel, up to Michael's, and that would be the nearest one in Munster.
Right.
From Kerry, and as you can guess,
that's a long
that's
way.
a big distance. Yeah. That is a long distance. Now there is more room for one academy because of the distance.
Absolutely.
So we kind of came up with the idea maybe that if we did start something like this, that it would give more players in the southern part of Ireland more chance.
Yeah, very good idea.
And then we were hoping maybe that we're looking for a venue. We wanted to start it last year, but when COVID hit, we said, okay, it might be the best time because you'd have kids travelling from different clubs. So we didn't want to mix too many kids together. So we said we'd wait off, and hopefully this year, please God, going forward, that we might be able to start this year. And we're hoping to get the Tralee complex, and we're hoping maybe to run it 2 nights a week starting off, depending on what numbers we get. And we'll hopefully just go from there with that.
Yeah, well, it might be worth, Michelle, I'm sure you've spoken to the guys in Badminton Ireland. They're, as you mentioned a few names, they're very keen to promote the game. And I'm quite sure they would do a really big shout out for your initiative if you had a discussion with them, because they're always looking.
Yeah, John, funny you should say that. So I have spoken with Daniel.
Yeah.
And
you call him Daniel, we call him Dan. Sorry. Well, maybe that's...
I know Daniel, Dan.
Okay.
Dan.
Sorry.
Dan.
Danny boy.
Danny boy.
Dan the man, anyway.
Dan the man. So, so I did speak with him. He has sent me all the paperwork. We would be kind of affiliated to Badminton Ireland. We would be kind of a sub-camp for Badminton Ireland within Kerry.
Okay. So firmly a structure in that already.
It is,
already.
So they would kind of support as well with us, things, the way with academies, they will send shuttles, or use shuttles down for training.
Yeah.
So we have spoken. I have, again, now it's kind of gone out of my head now, but since last year, I had all the paperwork put in place to go ahead with it.
Yes. Yeah. And then obviously...
and he's been good advising me as well what to do, and Michael Amara's been very good helping out. I must say that you do get, that's what I mean, when you go to these coaching conferences, you meet people, you get to talk about different ideas. I find people in badminton are very helpful.
Yeah, absolutely.
So everybody wants to help each other. They will give you ideas. They'll tell you what works in their place. Maybe you can try it. It might work in your place. It mightn't work in your place. Somebody else's idea might work.
Yeah. No, absolutely. No, you are right. I think there are we know badminton is very much, a lot of people volunteer their time. That's the sport that we're talking about. Even when you see umpires and lines people and all those people that spend so endless hours on courts, they give up their time. I think of Philip McKeown does an awful lot on the camera side of things to make sure technology. It was a wonderful match there recorded between that and the Malaysian player there. And this podcast will probably go out a couple of months later than when it was shown. But the technology, the help from the likes of Philip. So I think it's just a matter of making sure the communications with the people to everybody to find out a solution. And I guess one of the biggest challenges always is location. Where do you locate? That is, where do you locate your academy? Where would be the most ideal location? It's not going to suit everybody, but there has to, you have to get that right. The hall has to be right, and obviously it needs to be, I guess, positioned towards where more players are likely to come out of.
Yes. And I think when kids are at that level, when they want to get into the academy, they're very serious about the game. They're willing to travel.
Yes.
For the academy.
Yeah.
And I suppose it depends on how well we coach. So if people see other kids progressing out of the academy, that's how we hope then we can build ourselves up.
Yeah, well, I know there used to be, there was a girl, I'm not sure, I think she was from Tipperary, Clodagh Dunn. Do you remember Clodagh Dunn?
I think she was Wexford.
Well, she was Wexford, but she used to come up to Marino every couple of evenings, literally, I think, take a train, and was religiously committed to the game. Obviously, she was playing at a good level. You often see those players travelling, as you say, quite distances. It's all. You also see some of the academy players travel from the north down when they've to kind of spar with some of the other players. It's not always the most suitable time they have to work around when it's possible to do that. But you have to, as I think, if you have the mindset to try and solve problems with people who are close to the game, 3 or 4 heads are better than one, and you'll come up with maybe the best, compromise. Maybe transport needs to be sorted for some of those players too, so you get them from A to B, because I know that's always a challenge. Even in Dublin, getting to the academy at rush hour, you're on the M50, it can be crazy. An hour travelling even from one side of the city to the other. I know you'll have no sympathy for that, but you have that arid situation. It takes an hour to get from which will only take you 20 minutes, but parents do it. We're taxi service to all our kids at the end of the day, ultimately till they get their independence. So that's great. Okay, really, really interesting what you're doing there with the academy. Mark, where are we now? You keep me on the narrow here.
Yeah, absolutely, John.
Okay.
No, just keep her lit, as I said. I think it's absolutely brilliant, Jill and Michelle. I hope it's a great success. I'm sure it will be. It's absolutely fantastic. You bring the proactive energy to it and good badminton technique.
Just sorry, Mark, before you. There's Michelle. I don't think there's any coaches' conference, obviously because of COVID. That's on the map for this summer.
No.
Am I right in saying that? I haven't seen anything.
No. So there's not at the moment because of COVID.
Right. Okay.
There was nothing put in place. I don't know whether it will go ahead. I would be very doubtful for this year about it going ahead.
Yeah, well, they're going to do a mini season, as we all know, from September to December. I mean, this is what the plan is. And that's kind of season 21 captured in 5 months, and then January 22 will be the new season and will run January to December. So you'll have 2 seasons over 17 months. That's what Badminton Ireland have at the moment on their calendar. So where the coaches' conference falls into that, you can make your own guess. Maybe there won't be one, or maybe they'll do some kind of webinar or Zoom forum for a coaches' conference, which would be a great idea to do it this side of Christmas. At least to have something better than nothing.
Because, like I said, the last one that they did, and they had Andy Stewart and Craig McCourty was on it.
Yeah.
And I don't know, were you there that night, John, on it? It was on the webinar?
Yeah, I wasn't actually was lecturing at that time, but I did see the playback on that, and it was excellent. It was very good. I met Craig actually after that, and so I think another one of them certainly would be a really good idea. Also because clubs are getting back started again. You know, we've all got to kick start, and you know, I've heard of a few players we've lost to the game, but obviously we'll get more. And I know, Mark, you were hoping to run your camps as well if COVID allows you to. You know, that's your plan. So I think we need to kind of remind everyone again of what we're doing. We've been away from this game for a while, and I think we need to kind of now start promoting it again. David Murphy in Dublin is very keen to get everything back fully running.
And on that note as well, John, I'm running a Technic camp here in Kerry this summer.
Brilliant.
I usually run one every year. I've been running one with the last 3 years now.
Fantastic. That's great. And I'm sure there's a huge interest at this moment for them to get into those camps.
Yeah. So it's been very good, so it is. And again, you can see even new kids coming in that might never have played badminton. It's an introduction to badminton for technique.
Yeah.
And I did even find last year, some of the kids that didn't play badminton, when you showed them the shots, they could just do it because it was new to them.
Yeah.
Whereas you might have to be correcting somebody that has picked up bad habits, like Jill has said earlier on.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it was a great introduction for kids to badminton.
Well, it's brilliant you're running those camps. That is great. I know in the north of Ireland, I think it's Kieran Chambers.
Kieran does a lot.
Kieran does a lot and does a lot of brilliant stuff. I know there's a couple of other players there too. You know, as I say, hopefully we don't have this Delta variant to disrupt us as we move forward over the next couple of months. And I think definitely some reminder conference would be a great idea. So anyway, that's the big shout out there. We'll wait and see see what the response is. So okay, Mark.
Yes, Michelle, I have a question for you. Who would be Kerry's most famous badminton player?
Okay, so I think this one would have to go without saying, would be Mary Bryan O'Sullivan.
Yes, absolutely.
You might have met her. So she was ranked one of the top 5 players in the world. She hailed from Tralee. She moved to Spain in 1974. She moved back to Ireland in 1981, where she moved to Tipperary. She would have coached Michael O'Mara. She would have been a big influence in Michael O'Mara, and I'm sure a lot of other people's lives up there. She was one of the first women captains of Ireland. And she played for Ireland over 40 times, winning Irish close and open singles, doubles and mixed. She also had a love for tennis and played singles and mixed doubles at Wimbledon. And she did hold the record for the most Irish national titles won as a pair in badminton.
Oh well, let's do our usual thing. We have to give that a clap, Mark. That is definitely, isn't it? Yeah, Mary Bryant, legend of the game. That's incredible. And I would say if I'm right, Michelle, I wonder how many people, the younger generation know who Mary Bryant is. I would say not as many that should, for such a wonderful stature in the game.
Yes.
Sorry, go ahead.
And a great achievement. No, and just a great achievement to have somebody at that level come out of Kerry.
Yes, yeah, absolutely, yeah. That's.
Do you know what club she was in Kerry? Was it Tralee?
No, so she never really played for Kerry because she left Kerry when she was only 18.
Ah, right, okay.
And she moved to Dublin to college.
Yes. Brilliant. Yeah, I think I have a memory that she played. She was a long-standing member of a famous club in Dublin called Pembroke Badminton Club. That was her club here in Dublin. And I think she played a lot with Yvonne Kelly, was her sort of long-standing ladies doubles partner.
Yes, she did. She won a lot actually with Yvonne Kelly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think she did very well in All Englands as well.
Yes.
The All England Badminton Championships. I have a feeling she sort of got semi-finals in the early 60s.
Oh, wow, that's fantastic.
Really, a really great player. As you say, when you said to me top 5 in the world, I didn't realise how good a player until you said that to me. That was absolutely amazing.
Yes. Yeah, ranked one of the top 5 players in the world. And again, like that, I was just trying to do a bit of background on her just to see did anybody know her. Obviously, she left a long, long time ago, and I'm having kind of difficulties to find out anymore exactly where in Tralee. I know she did go to school in Tralee up until she was 18.
Right. Well, maybe when this podcast airs, we can see if we can find out from our listeners on the Badminton Talk podcast if we can. I'm sure there's a lot of players who will remember Mary Bryant, and I know they'll be able to share that information. Mark and myself often talked about the Badminton Museum, wasn't it? Having a virtual museum at some stage where we can share lots of information or even video clips of Mary Bryant when she played and share that with all generations, particularly the younger generations, because the game has to be, we have to remind people of the roots of the game, and even if we go back to Ireland, how well we did internationally a long time ago.
Yeah, Mary Bryant was a fabulous player. I think, didn't she hold the record for quite a long time, holding the number of national titles? And I think it's only just been beaten recently by Chloe McGee.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, she did.
I can't remember, but Chloe McGee has won a phenomenal amount. So Mary Bryant set a really tough target for Chloe to.
But she's right up there. Like, she's the top few players. Like, you think about it, like.
Yeah, there's Chloe number 1 and Mary Bryant
amazing
is number 2.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, Mark, where are we next then?
We maybe move the subject on to. Everybody accuses us Dubliners of being Dublin-centric, and there's a lot of truth in that. I know very little about Kerry Badminton. I admit this right now on the Badminton Talk podcast. Could you tell me a little bit, Michelle or Jill, about Kerry Badminton? What's the structure? How many clubs? How many players? That type of thing.
Yeah, how many active players? That's a really good question.
So at the moment we have active players, maybe about 764 members alone in just Kerry.
Wow, that's incredible. Wow.
Yes.
And what ages are they ranging from, Michelle? Do they?
Well, now that would be both juvenile and senior.
Right. Okay. Still, it's a big number. And how many clubs would you have within that spectrum of nearly?
I think there would be about 12 to 13 clubs in that, both juvenile and senior again. And now I could be corrected on this, but I did have a conversation with Conor Fadden one day, and I think he did say that Munster had the second highest level of juvenile players in Ireland.
My goodness, tonight. That's incredible.
The 4 provinces, yeah.
Yeah.
that we were high up there.
Yeah.
Now, I might be wrong. We could have been first. Again, I think we probably were first.
Oh, I think
Sure you were.
we in Leinster might dispute that. We'll have to get Conor on to clarify.
We'll have to get Conor to rectify it, whether I'm right or wrong. Now, I know you were talking earlier about the traffic in Dublin, and I can kind of completely understand it, but one of the clubs within Kerry is based on Valentia Island, which is it's about 110 kilometres from my house. And my first match playing in Kerry, we played Listowel, who's the club I play for, played against Valentia Island. So either are they called, on Valentia Island, and the match started at 9 p.m. in the evening. It took us 2 hours to get there. We finished at 11:30, and we had to stay for tea. Well, we didn't have to stay, but you always have tea and coffee, sandwiches and cakes.
Yeah, part of the game.
And afterwards.
Yeah, essential.
Yeah, it is essential, and I really like that part of the game. We never did it in any of the UK clubs I played in. And I think I got home that evening at 2 a.m. after playing my first match in Ireland, and I was thinking, I don't think I want to play any more matches. Yeah, I understand the traffic in Dublin, but yeah, when you have to drive to Valentia Island, which is beautiful, by the way.
Yeah.
But you know.
Oh, there we have to leave it for another Badminton Talk podcast. My God, Mark, doesn't the time fly? What interesting information and insight from Jill and Michelle. Do you remember late nights in badminton, Mark?
I certainly do, John. When I was growing up or was a young guy, yeah, you would... often you'd be playing in one-court halls, and a lot of the format... It was the old scoring system, of course.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Where you had to have the serve to score a point.
That's right.
Best of 3 sets to 15, and set at 13 all was 5 points, and setting at 14 all was 3 points. And often you'd play in one court hall, and often there would be 8 matches. So you would play a men's doubles and a mixed doubles, and you didn't really want to be the fourth mixed on those late nights, Charles, because the match might start at 8 o'clock with 8 matches on a one court hall. Often 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, I can remember playing, and getting home at 3 o'clock. I do remember that.
Yeah, I often remember, Mark, playing even in Whitehall Road against Noel Buggy, who I don't think plays anymore. We'd only get one set in the hour. Only one set in. One set in. We had first battles, of course. You know, the setting could go up to, is it 18-17?
That's right.
That's right. 18-17 and 13 all. So, yes, as you say, Valentia Island. I've never been there, by the way. Have you, Mark?
No, but I want to go now.
Sounds nice place.
What Jill said, yeah.
Yeah, and maybe bring a badminton racket and see can we find that hall.
Exactly. Let's go on tour, Joe.
Yeah, tour of Kerry. We'll have to do that, and Jill and Michelle can show us the places to go, and we can do lots of photograph and promotion for badminton, for Kerry, Munster badminton. That could be something for the future, Mark. Well, we are just about out of time as we're looking here, and of course, you know, Kelly Harrington tomorrow morning. Set your alarm clocks, Mark, yeah?
Absolutely.
6 a.m. Yeah, should be exciting, Mark. Oh my goodness. So I think that's probably what we're going to do this weekend, and of course we want to thank the Q Shuttle for Q Shuttle Gold and Silver, now 2 great shuttlecocks you can now buy on our website, mymobilebadmintonshop.ie. So without any ado, we have the jingle to tell us it is almost time to say au revoir. Anything else planned, Mark, besides watching some boxing?
No, I'm absolutely hooked on the Olympics, John. Love the Olympics of all these different sports and the skill levels. I love the surfing the other day and skateboarding.
Yeah, skateboarding, yes. And 13-year-olds, they're getting younger, Mark. Are we getting older? They're getting younger. Oh, golly gosh. But anyway, yes, in badminton, you're never too old. You can still, as I know, in the Masters play over 75s.
Right,
hopefully by the time I get there, Mark, it'll be over 80. So, okay, Mark, well, listen, on that positive note, stay safe. Keep wearing your masks, okay? You're still in COVID. And we'll see you all next Saturday, same time, 11 o'clock. See you, Mark.
Bye, John.